text because Upanishads are very difficult to understand. Even the Gita, and then there is another couple of the texts which are sutras. So you see that it's a guide to the journey of self-discovery, which will take us to the Upanishads understanding. But because we cannot understand the Upanishads, so many masters says, many, they have written the topical text. It does not mean that these texts are not as important as Upanishad, because it gives you the entire perspective and the idea, understanding, and the practice coming from the Upanishad. The main source is definitely the Upanishads. So it is like, you can say, a GPS with a departure and arrival point. The things are made very clear. So that is why we need to study. If there is a lot of impurities in the mind, we will talk about those impurities in a different way. It is like we learn an alphabet in the kindergarten, but it opens the door to the vast knowledge. So we are not in kindergarten learning alphabets. This is a metaphor, an example. Because we already have a developed intellect, we understand the basics of the Eastern wisdom. We understand the goal is self-discovery. We understand awakening is required. And now we are learning these alphabets in 40 steps, so that my intellect, my mind can contemplate and reflect and can reach there. So these are wonderful texts which gives you an understanding of what Upanishad says in a systematic and organized, structured way. So it is like climbing a mountain. The peak represents that Upanishad, and as we climb down, when we reach there, and when we study those Upanishads, we find that we are already there. We are already there. You can also say that this sadhana panchakam means, panchakam means 5. 5 verses, 40 steps. Every verse has 8 steps, compressed, written in a simple language by the Shankaracharya. We will also relate it to the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. We will also relate this to the verses from the Bhagavad Gita, so that our concept and the principles become clear. Sadhana Panchakam. So Sadhana Panchakam is like, you can say that you are walking through a forest seeking a treasure, and you have a map, but you have lot of doubts where to go, how to go, what practices needs to be done, in what manner. So here are the 40 steps. So anytime your mind says no, once you understand all the 40 steps, now you know on a given day you wake up in the morning, you have some frustration, and these 40 steps helps you to remember, oh, this is what the master is saying. Let me follow, let me understand this step. And at least the anxiety is gone, the ego is gone, the dryness of the intellect is gone. That is why it is one of the great text of Eastern wisdom. You see, Patanjali Yoga Sutra has taken up one approach, single-sided approach. Sadhana Panchakam has taken a holistic approach. That is why it has got 40 steps. 5 verses. Each verse has 8 steps. I sometimes see that like building a house, you have recently built a house. So you built a very strong foundation. But that foundation is horizontal. Right? That you prepare a horizontal foundation, and on that foundation we start building a wall, maybe first floor, second floor, and we can build any number of floors. But if the foundation is not strong, then it becomes difficult. In this journey of the self-discovery, this horizontal foundation means that how we should move the mind from outside to inside. The world is outside, then the body, then the breath, then the mind, then the intellect, then the ego, and ultimately then the ignorance where we experience the pleasure and beyond. So we move the mind horizontally. Indirectly, it is understood here with just I'm relating it so that you will understand clearly. We have 5 sets of experiences. At the physical level, it is about birth and the death. At the energy level, it is about hunger and thirst. At the level of the mind, it is about the pain and the pleasure. At the level of intellect, it is about the strong likes and dislikes. At the level of ignorance, which says, "Now I enjoy. Taking a cup of coffee makes me happy. Buying a car makes me happy. Building a house made me happy. So I'm looking at the pleasure aspect, the short-term happiness from the objects." Take simple one example, pain and the pleasure. Any kind of discomfort is the pain. At ease is also a pleasure. Grabbing an object is also a pleasure. Leaving that object gives me the pain. Now these 5 koshas, this is related to the 5 koshas. You have to understand the Panch Kosha, the 5 koshas. They give you 5 sets of experiences. So at the physical level, am I the body, or body undergoes these 2 experiences? At the level of energy, am I the energy, or energy gives you 2 sets of experiences? What is that? Hunger and the thirst. There may be a hunger for anything. It is not related to food. Thirst is not related to feed. I'm totally disturbed. I'm not able to sleep. Why? Because I'm thinking a lot. So we have to understand from today these 5 koshas, 5 different layers of the experiences. At one time you have one set of experiences, at one time you have second set of experiences, and sometimes all the experiences go together, and that makes my life crazy. So Master helps us to at least start thinking who was present when you experienced the fear of death. Who was it present when you experienced you are hungry? Who was present when you experienced the pain and the pleasure, strong likes and dislikes and the pleasure? Who was present? If there are two people present or if there are five people present, it means it is not possible. So the first proof, we remove the doubt that there is only one entity that is present in all the five different sets of experiences. And that is what we are going to discover in this journey of real self. That is why it is known as sadhana panchakam. Sadhana means practice, but no, sadhana means really from moving from the lower to the higher consciousness. What does it mean by lower to the higher consciousness? I have an understanding. What that understanding means the knowledge. So what the knowledge means? Knowledge says at present you have an ego, so you maintain your awareness and you drop that ego. Just in the previous lesson I was talking about, can you find out the boundary between you are and the world? Where is the boundary? Where is you begin and ends and where the world starts? You cannot find the boundary. So Dennis brought, while sharing the experiences, he said, I can see that clearly. The body is nothing but a combination of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, by which protein molecules are there, amino acids, enzymes are there, digestive juices are there, the food that we eat. And these elements belongs to the world. So the question of boundary between I am and the world do not exist at all. Even if you break up this matter into molecules, molecules into atoms, atoms into particles, particles into energy, and still we cannot say, or we can say with confirmation, that the consciousness is not the property of matter. If the consciousness is the property of matter, then the computer will start moving. Then I need not to move. The computer will say, no, I'm adjusting your position. Now we have artificial AI cameras. They adjust the position, but still they are unconscious. Consciousness is not there. So it means that there is no boundaries. And he used the word, I liked it. He said that we are living in an imaginary belief that this is I am and this is the world. This is what the ego is. He did not say, then I concluded that this is what the ego is. So one master says ego is a barrier, other master says the impurities of the mind is the barrier, third master says binding desire is the barrier. So they are understanding at a different level of our awareness. It is, or other master says ignorance is the barrier. So this master of sadhana panchakam has included almost everything, every part of it. So we have to understand each step by step that what are these 40 steps. Oh, you have the text. What are the, you have the, so we will understand. So it includes the guiding principles of the journey of the self-discovery. So horizontal foundation. So we will also understand this master has said that these 40 steps are for those who already understands the horizontal foundation. What are those horizontal foundation? They are Mangala Charan. We have already undergone through it. 4 connections we already understand, and 4-fold practices. So that is what the you know. So Mangala Charan is no, you set the context. So we have to remember, as seeker, every day you wake up in the morning and you are upset, and you remember the Mangala Charan and you start thinking consciously about the Mangala Charan. Let everyone be happy. You wake up in the morning, you are upset, and your mind is saying, let everyone be happy. Let everyone be in the state of peace. Let everyone be blessed. And you are repeating and saying until that thought connects with the emotion and changes you being the upset. If it changes very fast, you are definitely a seeker. We have to understand that part clearly. That now I am a seeker. I understand. Why I understand? Because of, because of, because of, because of 4 connections. I know my goal. I am a qualified seeker. My goal is the real self, and the real self is of the nature of permanent peace and happiness, love, and wisdom. When you were building your house and building a foundation, oh, brick is not there, cement is not there. That's the problem. Oh, that is solved. So the horizontal foundation, these 4 connection helps us. So we should remember consciously in the mind, oh, qualified seeker, yes. I remember the goal, yes. So I connect it to the Mangala Charan, yes. Oh, that is where I change my behavior and attitude. Oh, let me stand up and solve this puzzle. Why to worry? But this idea comes from the sadhan chatushtaya, from the viveka. I have done the viveka. Even in Mangala Charan, when I am saying let everyone be happy, so I am dissolving unhappiness of everyone, including myself. So when I am saying let everyone be happy in the morning, when the mind is in anxiety, I am also attacking that anxiety. If I succeed, then I'm shedding, dropping my ego, and I'm also helping myself to become a seeker. So Mangalacharan, if I use the word Mangalacharan is 1, 4 connections, and this is in my understanding. And Sadhan Chatushtaya, they prepare a horizontal foundation. You go to your workplace, you are happy, you are not worried, you are not concerned, but you excel in yourself, you continue to work. Problems are there, Viveka has told you, Viveka has given you a mental maturity of 5 layers of experiences are bound to come in the world because I'm living into the same world. So these set of experiences will continue. Pain, pleasure, hunger, thirst, likes and dislikes, fear of birth, and then I tackle. So I have a mental maturity that takes my mind to the 5 layers of experiences and helps me to transcend it. Horizontal foundation. So first level, when we go and understand these 5 koshas differently, then the context is different. So here I'm using this context. The 5 koshas, the 5 layers of experiences. Now, when we say horizontal foundation is made, we are just having an introduction of this sadhana panchakam. So now see that when we have this strong foundation is done. In that strong foundation, then we rise in consciousness. We move inside, the mind moves inside horizontal foundation. It touches the very deep inside. It goes beyond all the 5 layers of experiences. Then what is left? That is why I experience emptiness, silence. So all those practices will help us. Oh, Today I built a very strong foundation. My mind was totally in a silence. But after, when it lives into relaxation and calmness, I should rise above. I should vertically lift up. I told you a couple of years back, horizontal foundation in kundalini. Normally now we have ladders or staircases outside our house also. But metaphor is that once you enter into the house, then only you can enter into the second floor. So that is the metaphor applicable here. So when I enter within, then only I can rise in consciousness. I cannot rise in consciousness living outside. So the master says when you are living outside, mind is causing the impurities to you. It will prevent you to go inside, and then it is difficult to go up. You cannot have a rise in consciousness. So 99% of experiences are related to hallucinations and imaginations in Kundalini meditation, because people do not learn. First, I have to move horizontally inside. Move horizontally inside means what? Sadhan Chatushtaya, 4 connections. So in that 4 connections and the Mangalacharan, so I have done all this, but then I have also reached to a state of 6 treasures, Sama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha. So my mind is very calm. I am doing in Kundalini meditation. It creates an experience. I remain detached with it. I did not create any hallucination. Then only I can rise above. But 99% people are there. Great people are there. But so this we are going to understand in a different way. So the vertical movement is done by Raja Yoga, by Karma Yoga, by Bhakti Yoga, and at last by Gyan Yoga. So we have select practices in the vertical movement of many practices. We will take up the select practices of Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga. How? We will take it by Japa Yoga. We are already doing that. So once you keep on, we will understand, this is how the scheme of the things are mentioned here. And the entire journey is done by listening and learning the principle by Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasan. Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasan. Now see that horizontal movement which ultimately helps us to purify the mind. My ego disturbs me. So ego means that I am separate from the world. First time you understand. Simple understanding. Ego simply means that I am different from the world. And I am expecting something from the world which I could not achieve. Or I have envy or jealousy against someone. So instead of contemplating on that issue, I contemplate where is the boundary between me and the world. So through contemplation and reflection, I get rid of that ego. And I have to do it again and again and again and again. So as we start with the vertical movement, we see that mind is going down again. It means the impurities of the mind. So we have Karma Yoga. we have also the Bhakti Yoga. And in the Raj Yoga, we have to do a lot of contemplation and meditation. So there are different steps. One more thing. Now, a few more things. One guy who had an extreme pain in the belly, he's eating right food, he's eating very less, and he has an acute pain. And I gave him some practices, and then I recognized that pain has more to do with the past impression. And he has to do certain yajna. One yajna is done, yajna is you can sacrifice your selfishness mentally and emotionally, that is also the yajna. But he is not eligible for it. So I asked him that you go to some priest and he will perform certain yajna. And I hope that things will be better. Now the things is better. Why I picked up this object? Because sometimes the purification of the mind, we can do it easily. Sometimes it is very challenging. Ego continues to maintain itself. Then we have to do some other practices that we will include into this journey of sadhana panchakam also. Sadhana Panchakam makes it very clear that your outer world and the inner world, both are important. You are a monk, only the inner world is important. You are already living in a monastery, you are going to the teacher. For 20 years, you always keep on looking at the teacher, you sit at his feet, he keeps on teaching you. You don't see anyone outside. So in those days, the monasteries are not like modern monasteries like today. Anyone can go and stay. So either you are having a monk lifestyle, so where your journey is, you wake up in the morning, 3 hours of learning and practicing from the teacher, then you take your breakfast, then you contemplate and reflect until the lunch, you take your lunch, again you study the text, you go in the evening, and you sleep. You are not allowed to go outside. You are giving all the meals and clothes and the food, everything. There are people. But because we are living a worldly life, personal life, professional life, social life, family life, we have to strike a harmony with the external world. So today is the introductory, so that's why I'm making it very clear. You have to think when your mind says, I'm upset with my honey. So sadhana here means that how to prepare my mind not to get upset even if my honey creates that situation. That is striking the harmony. Yes, you can talk to honey, you can talk to anyone, you can talk to your employee, but we have to first motivation, intention is that I have to understand. I have to strike a harmony within. I have to strike the calmness within. From where I have borrowed these principles while making this statement. Shatak Sampatti, 6 treasures. I awaken to those 6 treasures. Sama, mind is 100% available. Relaxation and calm. Dhamma, I can withdraw the sense organ instantly. How come? Why? What is the utility in the modern world? You see the honey, he or she is doing what you feel she should not do. So you are watching through your sense organ. So at that time, Dhamma is required. It doesn't make any difference. Let him or her do it. You enjoy that. You want to check that am I able to maintain my calmness and peace? Same thing applies in the world outside. Oh, the world is crazy. No, I should need not to say world is crazy. My mind is crazy. So then the third comes the titiksha. Samadhama uparati. Third is uparati. Now you feel a sense of indifference. You are full of the joy. Wherever you go, you have a sense of calmness and joy. That is uparati. Indifference means a sense of joy comes from within. Then titiksha. Yeah. Samdam uparati titiksha. Yes. So there are two words used. One is the tapa and other is the titiksha. Tapa means that I do something, I do volunteer my body and the mind to practice something. I tolerate the pain. Say, for example, you sit in Padmasana. I will sit in Padmasana for 2 hours, even if there is a pain. That becomes tapa. Another format of tapa is titiksha. You see the outside world, your honey is making you crazy, so here comes the titiksha. You did not create anything. So there you are. Oh, can I tolerate this? Can I remain this idea, this expectation outside? Can I maintain that calmness? And there will be many situations in our life that comes when we are driving, when we are going to the mall, when we are talking to the honey, when we are talking to our kids, many situations. So I have to apply titiksha. That is why it is known as the six treasures. So we will also understand this. And then Shraddha, faith, and Samadhana is there. So it means the journey includes lot of practices, and these practices have to be applied in real life situation. Why in real life situation? To strike a harmony with the external world. Why to strike a harmony with the external world? To purify the mind. How it purifies the mind? Now every day you wake up in the morning, the world outside does not exist for you. You have no thoughts pertaining to the world, no emotional attachment is there. Now your mind is ready to lift upward. Because we are living a worldly life, we have to strike a harmony. If we cannot strike a harmony, the progress will not be there. Then what happens? The time comes, it will take a long time, may take short time. The time comes, your relations, your near and the dear ones knows your attitude has changed, your behavior has changed, and then you are very strict about yourself to follow a routine. So in the beginning, when you say, no, I'm going for meditation, this guy is going for meditation. He just had a sensuality now, and now he's going for meditation. People will make fun of you. But you consistently you do it. You follow it rigorously. You are dedicated, committed. People know. People know. From 4 to 6:30, even if the god of death will come, I'm not interested in welcome. I'm just absorbed into that. So when you have that routine, self-discipline in yourself, and people watch you, near and dear ones, then they realize that yes, this guy has changed a lot. I need not to say anything. Initially, you used to get upset or react. You used to react on something, but now your reaction has calmed down. The people's behavior have not changed. Your behavior has changed. So those harmony needs to be done so that inner journey, ascending journey can start. We already have a faith. I need not to talk about, even though faith, we should have a faith. Master says we should have a faith. So if you look at the pragmatic approach of these 40 steps, obviously we have to do the satsang. We are already doing satsang, and so we have to start with the Mangalacharan. So from the next session, we will start all our sessions with the Mangalacharan for a few minutes so that we create a strong foundation every time, and this should become our habit. We should remind ourselves with reference to 4 connections if there is any problem with the 4 connections. Desire of all the desire is the self-discovery. There are desires in the life, let me fulfill it. But no desires in the life should cause any sense of attachment. That is, we are going to understand. Then we will also deeply understand the 4 practices. We will understand Viveka in a different way. We have understood until, I would say, the graduation level. So we will understand at the master's level. We'll also understand at a higher level. Yes, we continue to persist and the practices we are already doing it. That is also good. So simply keep that in mind, that the moment I have a sense of ego and then I forget it, I have committed some work out of the ego, the later on I realize, that is good. If I don't realize, I continue, I have to continue the journey of purification of the mind. Now, you have to ask the questions. Every time you listen to the talk and do the practice, we have to ask our mind, what are the questions, natural questions? Who should follow this sadhana panchakam? So I should ask. I have started sadhana panchakam. So in what way I should follow? Just okay. My AC is a little bit disturbed now. Summer is coming, so we have to recondition it. So the guy is saying that he's coming in an hour. Who should follow sadhana panchakam? I should ask myself. Seeker. Or if I'm not a seeker, then everyone, in order to become a seeker. If I'm not a seeker, to become a seeker, I have to follow it. In both ways, it is required. What are the 5 verses of Sadhana Panchakam that we will understand in the following session? When should one begin the journey outlined in the Sadhana Panchakam? When? Don't ask the question of when. Once you have heard it, you should start the journey. You have already started the journey. You should start thinking. You should start contemplating. You should start doing the practice. But you are already doing the practice, so that question. But I should keep that in mind, these questions. So now develop a reasoning mind. Every time you listen to the talk and you do the practice, you should ask the 5W. You remember the 5, you know the 5W. Normally we say what, why, where, when, who, plus how. So I call it 5W plus 1H. Why? I have to remove the ignorant part of it. I have to remove the misunderstanding. So if you keep the misunderstanding, that also keeps the ego intact. Where one can find the guidance for practicing sadhana panchakam? Obviously, teacher in the text. Teacher in the text. Now I have understood the preliminaries. So who is establishing a horizontal foundation? I am, as a seeker. I have to remember. Both the teacher and the students are helping each other. How should one achieve a vertical ascent of the consciousness? So we should remember by purifying the mind, by deepening the meditation practice, by integrating the knowledge from the Eastern wisdom. Or you can simply say, I have to do certain part of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, Japa Yoga, and at last Gyan Yoga. So I should be ready for it. Kundalini Yoga is a part of Tantra Yoga, so I'm not referring. Can one practice sadhana panchakam without a teacher? Yes. If we are that higher level of a seeker, we can understand. It is possible if we understand each and every step clearly. So in the horizontal foundation, satsang is necessary, fourfold practices I have already done. Answer that. How does one achieve a vertical ascent of consciousness? I have done. Why is seeking guidance from a teacher important in the journey of self-discovery? So I should be very clear about myself. That why I am seeking a guidance. Is it enough? Or I want to understand more? I have to be very clear. I have to remove all the doubts about it. First year I was with Master. My mind thought he is a crazy guy, I don't know how he twists the topic, changes the topic, and he does not answer the question. Second year, my mind was settled a bit, and I was more receptive. I could see how my master gives the reference, why the master is telling me the story. Third year, I have certain a tremendous faith in the master. Possibly in the fourth year, I used to interrupt a lot. He's talking and I said, this Upanishad says this Upanishad says this, and you are saying this. After 5 or 6 years, he said, my son, you are interrupting me, it's okay, but I not only teach from the text, I teach from my own experience. I have that state. So when you are interrupting, find out who is interrupting me. It was basically the ego part. It was the dry knowledge. So we should interrupt, but we should be very clear. You are not interrupting, but this is the journey. How do we understand this sadhana panchakam? That's why I'm talking about 4 connections. Why is understanding the 4 connection is important? I have to understand. I have to juggle around. I have to answer this question to myself. And again, I have to answer that why these 4-fold connection, why Viveka is important. Viveka, the self-discovery is done with Viveka. The material, the worldly discovery is done without Viveka, with clarity. It is focused on reasoning, cause and effect relationship. It says, matter consists of molecule, yes. Molecule consists of atom, yes. Atom consists of particles, yes. Here we say that the entire journey, anything and everything which is constantly changing is false. I have to move to the real. I understand this false is sequence is okay. That matter consists of molecule, atom, energy, everything is good. But in order to reach to the real, I have to do the viveka between real and the false. So I'm not opposing science. We are not opposing science. We are not opposing body. When I say I am not the body, it means, should I go to the cremation ground? No. People have very, very deep misunderstanding. No, we have to get rid of these deep misunderstandings. When I say I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm not the ego, I'm not the house. It does not mean that I stop living in the house. I'm not the car. It does not mean that I don't drive the car. So we have somewhat misunderstanding that when I say I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, it means I should leave the body and the mind in order to realize the self. A wrong approach. Wrong viveka is applied. So we'll have to understand. So Master gives that understanding. So viveka helps me to understand what is real self and what is the false self. False self and what is not me. So what is not me and what is me, there is a lot of mixture between the two, and that mixture is known as the impurities of the mind. How does realizing one's true nature and suffering? I have created those questions, so I'm reading from there. So I have to answer this question also. How does realizing I have realized my real self? Will it bring an end to the suffering? So our Master gives another understanding. So when I recognize my real self is eternal, it is of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. Basically, I have transcended my limitedness, my limited nature. How come the limited nature has come? We will understand. It is caused by the ego and the impurities of it. How? So I have to saturate. I have to have an intellectual and the mental maturity. When does the journey start? Anytime. When I'm ready. When I'm ready. And I should be regular in my journey. Where should the seeker begin the journey? By learning and acquiring the basic knowledge. That's what we are learning. We have already learnt a lot. So are doubts helpful in beginning of the journey? In the beginning of a journey, doubt is not required.
What it means, doubts, not the correct required.
Very first lesson, I say there is a real self and there is a false I. Very first lesson. And you say, I don't believe you, so you will stop the journey. So gradually, yes, once you have understood the basic principles, and now you raise the doubt. So first, without understanding the basic principles, and so what happens, you in the very first session is I don't believe. So I become an agnostic, I become an atheist. So it means my mind is not ready. My mind is already has a very deep obsession for what I'm thinking about the world. So that is why no, doubt is not required in the beginning, but yes, as we continue the journey, we experience, we have to raise the doubt. Where is the real self? How the real self looks like? What exactly is an experience of the real self? What is an experience of the ego self? That we have to reason. If we don't reason, that ignorance and the impurities will continue. And ignorance and impurities will continue. It will not help me reaching to that state. Another part that is more important. That also answers the question that we should not have a doubt in the very beginning. There is a candy is there. When I say candy is sweet, I don't believe you. Eat it. Eat to believe it. So here it comes. Practice to believe it. Okay, you don't want to believe, so just do the practice, close your eyes and see when the mind goes within, when the mind continues to live within, it gives you that relaxation and calmness. So is it possible for you anytime you go into anxiety, you move the mind within? No, it is not possible all the time. I'm so much obsessed with the anxiety. Oh, then you have to do other practices. And that is how from no belief to the belief comes. The experiential changes, that is one set of understanding. Another set of experience, it changes my behavior and attitude. I should experience that change in behavior and attitude. My mindset should change towards my near and the dear ones, towards my employee, towards the wealth, towards anything and everything. I have to look for it. I have to understand it. So if that behavior and attitude do not change, it means the ego is holding me somewhere, blocking me. But I have to reason out. I have to question it. If I don't question, it causes a lot of problems. So I should always remember that there should be a behavior change, attitude change. And we will go in a systematic and organized way. Every step has, even you have done a lot of steps, but it's okay. It's better to understand in a different perspective, in a systematic approach. So, what are the learning points for the seekers? Systematic approach, I should continue the practice regularly. Faith and the effort are needed in the beginning. The mind must be disciplined to go beyond the impurities of the mind. During the days, couple of times, while doing the practice morning and evening. Now see why even those people who say that I don't believe you, and they do some simple practice of meditation or relaxation, they find the calmness. So I have to challenge the wrong notions of my life. I gave an example. I always, the people have started, now they never complain. They give other excuses. I have a doctor's appointment, that's why I did not attend your session. Very, no, there are genuine reasons. I believe it. So I have no issue. Did you try to change that, reschedule the appointment of a doctor, then not attending the session? Did it come to your mind? No, it did not come to my mind. So that is the very subtle level of impurity in your mind. But only a seeker can understand, not everyone. But I don't say all the group except the group on Mondays and Thursdays. No, especially on Saturday. So now see when I have strike harmony of the external world with the inner world. And now my mind says when I wake up in the morning, I wake up in the morning at 7, I have to rush to the office at 7:30. So seeker's attitude that I should wake up at 5, I should complete all my activities, at least 15 minutes to half an hour I am ready. There is no problem getting ready half an hour before you want to go to the office. You do it for a couple of weeks and you will see the tremendous change. The mental consciousness changes. Now the mind, you wake up in the morning, mind says do the practice, mind says check the email, mind says now you're checking the email in calmness. And someday you don't check it, you are okay. that that makes us a good seeker. Now, if you look at in a Upanishad point of view, so one Upanishad says, Mundak Upanishad says the self is realized by the self alone. Entire journey of 40 steps is this. Self is realized by the self alone. Now, teaching in the Upanishad says this. Now we start thinking, I don't know the self, how it can be realized by the self, so there is no chance. So the master went to the another Upanishad and they found the clue. Third Upanishad, they found the clue. And from there they have created a book. Oh, this is what the master means from this Upanishad. No teaching of the no master is wrong. Ashtavakra Gita says you are the one real self, the supreme reality. You are pure consciousness. Now, those people who are already engaged, deeply attached to the world outside, how can you understand that you are the pure consciousness? Not possible. 40 steps. That is how the journey works. The self is ever free. One more Upanishad says the self is ever free, ever pure. So why you are talking about impurity? Because you have not reached there. Self is ever free, ever pure, ever perfect. Another Upanishad says. Now you see those references that will help you to understand that why we are not going directly to last thing, science. What to say about the science? Many research studies are done around the world, but California, a lot of research studies are done on meditation, and they have found out that if you regularly practice the meditation, you change the nerve path in the brain. You create more nerves. You can change the DNA of the DNOs. They have started searching that. It is possible. That is all.